expressed by the guests program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Chris Murray Report on WURD Radio. And ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about, but I got to say something really quick for all you Philadelphia 76ers fans who are headed to the Walt Whitman Bridge or the Ben Franklin Bridge or the Betsy Ross Bridge or whatever bridge you're near, 30th Street near 30th Street train station. Don't jump. Joel Embiid will be all right. He will be okay.
Thank God. Thank God.
Jordan basically gave us a sigh of relief.
Exactly.
Because there's no structural damage. The MRI came out today. No structural damage. Joel Embiid will be fine. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to allow you to vent your spleen today on any issue in sports. Today's open phones day. I'm just, I didn't book any guests this week because I'm dealing with my other hustle on the side. That's my teaching, and I got midterms, man. So I've been going through midterms this week. But the thing is, if y'all want to talk about anything with the Sixers now Embiid will be out for 2 weeks. And on one hand, you can take a look at this as a blessing in disguise, so to speak, if you want to see it that way, because it gives time for a lot of bench players, gives Dwight Howard some time, just because they gotta get ready, because you're gonna need your bench in the playoffs. And then also there is speculation that the Sixers are gonna make some kind of move today. Well, not today, but something at the trade deadline. The trade deadline, I think, is the 25th. I want to say March 25th.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to They got to make a move. They got to make a move of some sort. Everybody's hoping that you bring back former Cardinal Doherty star Kyle Lowry back. I wrote that in my column this week, saying that this ought to be a move that the Sixers should make. And I'm thinking that, hey, if they can just bring him back, he's going to be he has an expiring contract. So, whether that they would bring him back permanently is anybody's guess. And do you give up? I mean, the question becomes, what do you give up for bringing Kyle Lowry here? Do you mortgage your future? I've heard some people say, hey, we had Jack McCaffrey on last week. And he said, well, it might be to get to a championship final. And I hope I'm not misquoting him, but he says something, well, if you got to trade, a Matisse Thybulle, which I hope they don't trade.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing, too.
Or Tyrese Maxey. I don't think you should mortgage your future in that way. I think that, the Sixers kind of did when they brought in Mutombo back in 2001, but you need guys who can score, and you still need defense. You still need defenders, and in the playoffs. But at the same time, you worry as a fan. Yes, the Sixers have a lot of shooters around Ben Simmons, but it would be ideal if you would have Kyle Lowry, as your point guard, and let Simmons do other things. He could still be like a point forward of, be able to move the ball. But I think if you have Lowry at the point and you have him, not only do you have his playmaking ability, the ability to get guys open. You also have a guy who can also hit a three-pointer, who can shoot the ball. And that's ideal for what the Sixers need. And then maybe in some of those situations, you can use Ben Simmons' ability to penetrate, because if the defense is concentrating on Joel Embiid and all the Sixers big people and all the shooters, you need somebody. I mean, you're going to have a bunch of open shooters, because that opens up the entire Sixers offense, and then pretty much if you're preoccupied with defending Embiid in low post, and Lowry or Seth Curry or those guys starting to hit outside shots, now you guys spread the defense. Now you have to guard a whole bunch of people, and then somebody's going to be open. And somebody, when you spread it out, is going to be open. They take the ball to the basket, or just to shoot it, or create on their own. I mean, like I said, Tobias Harris is having a great year, but also, and Lowry is a good defender. You can say that he's a good defender. So if you happen to be in the Eastern Conference Final and you're playing either Miami or Brooklyn, New Jersey, or Brooklyn, then you're going to you need somebody to play defense, and that's going to be the key. Is really, you got to defend guys with the ball. Now, I don't know how healthy the Nets are going to be by playoff time, but if they're healthy enough, they're going to be tough to beat. But they're not unbeatable, and that's the thing. They're not unbeatable. But if you get the right chemistry of guys to do it, if they can pull it off, if anybody I think could pull it off, I would like to see what kind of a scheme that Doc Rivers has to stop that lethal weapon three. I mean, that's just,
I think it's gonna involve tweaking that starting lineup, like just adding Matisse in there.
Right.
Yeah, so you can so you can have like Ben Simmons on KD, maybe have Danny Green on James Harden, and Matisse on Kyrie.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need somebody to play defense, but the thing is, do you give up a lot of offense though? That's going to be the thing. That's the dilemma. I mean, you put defensive guys out there, so we'll see. And then too, like I say, but maybe Embiid gets 2 weeks, just some rest. At this point in the season, work, strengthen that knee or do whatever therapy he has to do in order to get himself back in shape. So, I mean, like I say again, is the season over? No. I mean, you got it, And the thing is, the first two games coming back from the break against, Chicago and Washington aren't necessarily world beaters, but you still got to win those games, and you still got to blow those guys out. And they did that, and they've done that in these last couple of games. I mean, even playing without Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who both were originally out because of the COVID, the contact tracing with COVID-19. So from that standpoint, we're looking at a team that, they've lost their number one guy, and they're going to have to adjust them. They may lose a couple of games here and there before that happens. But, the thing is, it's still a regular season. You still got the playoffs. You still got a long way to go in the season. So don't get too panicked. And I'd rather have a healthy Embiid coming into the playoffs rather than some guy who's trying to play and he's hobbled. And that's really the thing that fans are worried about. So let's go to the phones. Maurice from North Philadelphia, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
About a couple things. One was about the University of Texas song, where they forcing the black student athlete to sing after every game. Have you been aware?
The Eyes of Texas.
Yeah. And the black student athletes stepped up. I'm waiting to see what they're going to do next after the school ruling this past Tuesday that's forcing them to sing that song. Right. They have some tough decisions to make, especially after the school alumni threatened them that if they don't stand up to sing, that they would never get a job if they graduate in the state of Texas. So These are the type of things that that's why the Deion Sanders is so important at HBCU in this time. To hope that these black athletes start pointing to that direction, and we can level the playing field that way. Because we know football generates the most money in college sports. So we can put a stop to that plantation if we decide to make a change, which we should, if we're talking about making a difference in our community and building, closing the wealth gap and generation wealth building. The second thing I want to say is that there was something concerning Jackson State University and how important that to let this season alone, how quickly that TV picked them up for a second or third game. And that's important to all HBCUs to take note of that. Whatever happened to Jackson State, Jackson State going to help other schools also to get on TV. So I thought that was interesting what Deion Sanders is building from a community and reinvestment standpoint and not just around a football standpoint. Thank you. I like to hear it from your thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would like to see the HBCUs pick up more players. Interesting development, though, that happened, I think, this week. And I think next week I'm going to bring Don Hunt on the show or some other HBCU people to talk about it, is the fact that FAMU and I think Bethune-Cookman are leaving the Mideast Athletic Conference and moving on to the SWAC, to the Southwest Athletic Conference. And I would love to, if anybody's been following that, to hear some of the implications of that move, because that only makes the SWAC even more powerful. And I think, yes, Deion Sanders, and they had a great comeback last week against Grambling. I think they won the game. I think they won that game. And so I against Jackson State. So I look at, I'm looking at that situation. I'm trying to monitor it closely to find out what the implications of that are. That maybe the SWAC is bad, and what's going to happen to the MEAC in this situation, and will they pick up other schools? What's going to happen? In that situation. So that's. But I would like to see more of the black colleges get the money. I mean, places like University of Texas, they're telling black kids, they're trying to threaten, black kids at the University of Texas. Texas is a messed up state on a whole variety of levels. And in that situation, I hope they continue the protest. And you know what? If they don't get a job in the state of Texas, they can move elsewhere. And but it's racist. I mean, come on. For a long time, Texas wouldn't have black schools at their, they wouldn't accept black kids to play at Texas. And, it's a shame. I mean, the thing is, instead of listening, it's a funny thing. Instead of listening to where black kids are coming from on these issues, the whole idea is, it's always shut up and just play. It's always, whenever we speak out on something, it's always shut up and just play. We got Brother Joe from Germantown with us. Brother Joe, what's going on?
Hey, Brother Chris.
Missed you last week.
Brother Jordan, how y'all two good brothers doing today?
We're doing okay, man. Doing okay, man. I missed you last week. What's going on?
Praises be to Allah, brother. Praises be to Allah. Brother Chris, before I talk about any sports stuff, Chris, we going to hook up down the weather's getting warm, Chris. We're going to hook up so you can pay me my sandwich on me for that Dallas New Orleans Saints game in 3 years. I didn't forget about that, Chris.
I know. I got you. I got to wait till I got to get my vaccine, man, because I ain't messing with y'all without that vaccine, man.
Because you're not messing with you. We get to it whenever we get to it. But remember, our mutual friend, I got to let to talk. Our friend, Brother Sultan Ahmed. I was Sultan a couple of things and stuff because he beat me on the Eagles Dallas game some years. I still hold Sultan. I haven't a kid to hook up with Sultan, but I'm going to hook up with that good brother at some point. But Chris, let me say this to you, man. First, Chris, your colleague at the station, I said, Brother Chris, you open my eyes up to something about this greatest of stuff. I'm going to stop doing that. I get so tired of them guys on these shows, who the greatest of all. Who cares? Let's enjoy these guys. Now they playing the era and stuff. You can have your opinion. I'm not going to get into that no more because, like you said, Chris, you made a good point 2 weeks ago. Just because
a guy don't win a Super Bowl title don't mean he's still not a great player. Because sometimes circumstances happen. Because you're going to sit and tell me that Mark Rippon is a better quarterback than Dan Marino because Mark Rippon won a Super Bowl and Dan Marino didn't. I mean, sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. So since you gave me a different perspective on that, and I ran it past Solomon, Solomon agreed with me on that. You know what I mean? So I just want to thank you, Chris, for giving that perspective. I'm not going to get into that greatest of all time. I mean, these new guys just get stupid with that stuff, man, you know. But, Chris, before I talk about that Dak Prescott, let me say, because I just tuned in a few minutes ago, did you and Jordan talk about that racist announcer that made a remark about the sisters on the basketball team?
No, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't gotten into that. I haven't gotten, man. I've been. Go ahead.
Well, let me give you a brief rundown what happened. What happened was that the sisters didn't stand for the national. They took a knee during the national anthem. So this filthy bigot. I guess you got to be careful when you talk because you don't know a mic. They have an open mic, so I guess he thought he was saying it off the air. When get on there, it was an open mic. So he said when the sisters didn't stand, he said effing nigs, effing ends. That's what he said. Wow. And Chris, but here's this is all over the news. I mean, they were talking about on ESPN and all over. But here's the thing, Chris and Jordan, this devil had the nerve to sit there and say he's not racist. He said he said it because his blood sugar was low. I said, you got to be kidding me, man.
Well, I have to wait a minute. He said he said something racist because his blood sugar was low.
His blood sugar was low. That's what he said.
God.
So I guess because when these white cops shoot out people down the street, it's because their blood sugar is low. Okay, I take that. I accept that. You know I'm being facetious, of course.
Or worse yet, I was gonna say, better yet, you know. Now, one thing I will say, if cops are shooting people down the street, from what I understand, some of them might be hyped up on steroids too. That's what I mean.
True. No, you're right, Chris. No, you're right about that, Chris. That's seriously. No, you're right about that, dear brother. You're right. Yeah, I can't say you're wrong on that one, Chris. You're right, man. You're right. But Chris, I know you got too much time, so I'm gonna give Dak Prescott real quick, Chris. I know you got other callers. And I hope that announcer is fired because he should be fired for what he said. I want to hear that about this. He should be fired immediately. But on Dak Prescott, I got my cousin Vanessa, one of my favorites. She lives in Dallas. We had our family reunion here back in 2017, in summer of 2007. I had a chance to travel over Dallas. I visited the spot where President Kennedy was assassinated, Delhi Plaza, the Grassy Knoll. I did all that down there. But here's the thing. My cousin Vanessa talked me about what's going on the talk shows. You know, that's like any major city, Chris. You got stations that's geared towards the black community, like WRD here in Philadelphia. You got stations down there that geared urban that geared towards the black community. On the black stations down there, he's a black community been roasting Jerry Jones. They've been calling him a racist. But they said, well, you didn't treat Tony Romo like that. Why you treat Dak like that? And because of that, and I want y'all to understand where I'm coming from, Chris, and because of that, Chris, that had a lot to do with Jerry Jones paying Dak his money. Because, see, Jerry Jones don't want that image. Do I think Jerry Jones is a bigot for the most part? Yes, I do. But that's not the point. The point is he don't want that image of being a racist. So he had no choice but to give Dak his money because you couldn't justify giving Tony Romo his years ago, Carson Wentz getting his in Philadelphia, and don't give Dak his money. So Jerry Jones was backed into a corner. If he could have got out of not paying Dak his money, he would have, but he had no choice because he was taking a PR hit down there. Because when the black stations, like I say, Chris and Jordan, they was calling Jerry Jones a bigot down there, man. It was like Jerry Jones, he got this image of being America's team owner, the Dallas Cowboys. He can't have this bad for his brand. He can't have an image of being a bigot. So Jerry had no choice but to give Dak his money. And that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep, not surprising.
And because Dak is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Dak is a good quarterback. Sure he is. Sure he is. Dak is the best quarterback in the game. I'm not saying Dak is the best quarterback. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes, but he's in the top 10 of quarterbacks. Dak is in the top 10, in my opinion. And as long as he's healthy, he's gonna put up good numbers for the Cowboys. As long as he stay healthy and they protect him and they get that defense together, the Cowboys can be in the playoffs next year. Now, how far Dak take them, every man to be safe. They can get the whole pieces around Dak, especially on defense. But yeah, Dak definitely deserves his money and stuff, man. And I hope that Sean Watson get his money. I hope, Lamar Jackson, all them brothers get paid. I want to see these black quarterbacks. I hope Jalen Hurts, I'm a Cowboy fan, Kristen Jordan.
Yep, just like I'm an Eagles fan.
I hope have a good year. Hope Jalen have a good year next year so he can get his money at some point. I'm always supporting our black quarterbacks, always.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, John. And the thing is, I agree with you. I mean, to me, I think that there's still a problem in the NFL. It's not as bad as it used to be. Let's say that. It's not as bad as it used to be. But there's still this issue with these rich white owners and having a black man as the face of the franchise. I'm not saying it's true here because Jeffrey Lurie said that he's behind Jalen Hurts. But then again, he was also behind Donovan, Michael Vick. I can't say that about Jeffrey Lurie. I can't say that about him. I mean, he is a businessman. I will say that. He's a capitalist. I'm not, I'm not delusional about that. But at the same time, there are a lot of owners around the league that are uncomfortable with having a black male face because I got to go back to something. I wish I had. There's a passage somewhere. See, I keep some of my textbooks with me. If you read James Baldwin's Stranger in the Village, one of the things Baldwin is saying is that sometimes white men want to demonize black men in this society, and mainly because to see black people for white, and he said this back in 1953. He said for white people to see black men as equal, then that would mean that they would have to be held accountable for all the other things that have gone wrong. And I always see this. Yes, what does that have to do with sports? Has a lot to do with sports. And you see it in this situation, is the fact that there's some elements of the society. It's like when Barack Obama became president, that refused to see a black man in that position. And so they had to demonize him, because if they didn't demonize him, that meant that, you got to see this guy as, on a level playing field. And for some reason that's akin to some white supremacists to oh my God, we're being attacked or something like that. We got to go to break. And I'm going to come back with Richard from North Philadelphia. Richard, I ain't forgot about you. So when we come on the other side of the break, we'll start with him. You're listening to 96.FM, 900 AM WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
Are you looking for a job? Do you have skills in design, engineering, or computer programming? Get ready for Network, a virtual job fair with Technically Media. On Thursday, March 18th from noon to 6 p.m., the employers at Network are looking to learn more than just what's on your resume. Your personality and fit have real weight in the interviews. Technically is a partner of WURD Radio's Livelihood Initiative. Register for Network, the virtual tech job fair taking place on March 18th at WURDworks.com.
WURD recognizes Black women innovators and entrepreneurs who are making history every day. Nominate a Black woman-owned business for our Level Up contest. Go to WURDradio.com for more information. Brought to you by Bank of America, Comcast, Keystone First, PICO, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. We got Richard from North Philadelphia. And by the way, before we get to Richard, the numbers to call are 215-834-8065, 1-866-361-0900. Well, I almost forgot my numbers, man. Okay, so if you want to call in and talk about anything in sports, Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, boxing, did you see the rerun of the Ali Frazier fights this week? want to talk about that, I'm here to talk about it. Richard from North Philadelphia, how are you?
How you doing, Chris? I'm doing good. How you and Jordan there? I'm sure good and good. You know, well, Chris, listen, I'm talking about March Madness, NCAA basketball being back, and I'm happy about that. Now, you know, this week they talked about, 1 week. Remember 1 year ago when all this stuff started happening with the pandemic disease and all this stuff? We didn't have this. You know, we didn't know what we were going to do, and they've been talking about that for the last couple of days. 1 year ago today, you know what I mean? And so now, 1 year ago today, we got some vaccines out, you know, and so we couldn't hardly do anything. NBA managed good in the National Hockey League, but there was no college basketball. So I'm glad that college basketball is back, you know, and like that. Now we got the vaccines out, you know, and the president said the other night on TV that by May the 1st, everybody should be able to, get the vaccine. And then he said by July the 4th, I hope y'all be able to celebrate the 4th of July and all this, you know. Yeah. So, I got one shot. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, what a difference a year makes and what a difference the leadership in the White House makes. Because I think that had we done this properly, and because last year they had to stop because we didn't know what this disease was going to do, and they had to put in protocols in place. I'm still somewhat shaky about it. I hope they're getting vaccines to people who are playing now, and that they would do that. But I'm still, because I was in Newark, Delaware Thursday night. The wife and I went to Honeygrow to get a nice healthy meal, and I noticed that kids near the University of Delaware, there were some kids walking around without masks, and we still have to take those protocols. But I'm glad that we have March Madness this year. You got two Philly teams that are playing. Drexel made their first NCAA tournament. Villanova is back in the tournament, although Villanova has a few people who, they're missing a couple of guys. And, I'm glad to see March Madness back, although I feel bad for, I think Penn State had a team that I think was going to the tournament last year. I feel bad for the kids at my old school, University of Maryland, who won part of the Big Ten championship last year, couldn't go. I thought they had a shot in being a Final Four team. So there are a lot of things that I think Villanova had a better team last year, but guys got hurt. So it's unfortunate, but it's good that they're back playing. It's good that I can have brackets again. It's good that I can stay. I have an excuse for staying up late, other than having to grade papers. It's a good thing. It's good to make brackets again. I just hope they keep everybody safe. That's all I'm hoping for, because the University of Kansas had to opt out of the Big 12 tournament. They had made it to the semifinals against Texas, and because they had a COVID situation, they forfeited, and Texas is in the final against. I think they're going to be playing Baylor tonight. So I think that we've got to get to that point where it's like, because all I've ever said was protect the athletes, protect people playing the game. You got to protect people. You got to protect their health and well-being. And that's why I was like, look, until we listen to the science, listen to the science, and the thing is, nobody wants that disease, and people were saying, hey, look, people are selfish in the sense that we just want to see them play. There was a couple of people, a couple of white guys I got into arguments with on Facebook last year about, they should just play. They're all Trump supporters, I guess. And, we don't, the way the country last year approached the virus under Donald Trump was just wrong. And, and now 500,000 Americans are now dead, are not with us, and it's caused, this thing has caused depression. I've had students at my school tell me that they've gone through some form of depression with it, and it's been a difficult time for everybody. And the way we approach this situation was not healthy. And I'm glad that Biden is saying, hey, look, you got to, like people down in Texas. And this is, and you have to remember, this is another situation. Talk about University of Texas and the whole Eyes of Texas making black students sing that song. They felt that they feel is a racist song. But the thing is that these people these people elect leaders who really they screw over black people, yes, but they screw over everybody else. But the thing is they don't see, and I'm talking about a lot of the white folk down in Texas, they don't see that those Republicans are screwing them big time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, but when it comes to sports, you gotta protect people because as Stan Van Gundy said the other day, and I agree with him on this. He said that the player safety is only the second of concern. How much of their bottom line, the money, and don't think for 1 second that all the protocols that the NBA took, yes, they will say on the surface it was about player safety, but the real situation, money, count. I had a journalism teacher at Michigan State tell me, in any situation, follow the money. 3 things, 3 words. Follow the money. Follow the money. And that's what this thing is. You got to follow the money. And so, it's just the way that it goes. It's all motivated by profit. Don't take any money. NCAA is getting $2 billion from CBS to cover CBS and TBS and TNT and whatever accumulation of alphabet soup that you can call for the networks. Okay, they're getting $2 billion. You know what I could do with $2 billion? I can buy the
private jet.
A private jet. I can make Central Mass even richer and whatnot.
Yeah, that too.
And I would help black radio and black media. That's what I would do with that money. I would strengthen black media.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Well, Chris, just one more thing. I saw the replay of the Ali Frazier fight on ABC last year, and last Sunday, and it was something. The round from the 11th round to the 15th, it seemed like Ali had lost it all. He was tired, and he kept missing punches, and it just that Frazier put that one left into him in the 14th round that really, did him in. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about it, there was another punch in that round that Frazier hit Ali with. I'm wondering how Ali stayed on his feet. How? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's but Frazier, and I hope that we talked about those times last week about Frazier, Ali. Yeah. We talked about those times. I mean, that they were volatile times. As a matter of fact, I'm going to probably be writing about that pretty soon, but in a larger piece of literature. But the thing is that was just one of the that was a great fight. And then I saw the Thriller in Manila, and how no one walked out of that fight on out in a box is amazing to me. Is amazing. So I got to move on to Maurice from Southwest Philadelphia. Richard Thalways, man, thank you for calling. All right, so we got Maurice from Southwest. What's happening, Maurice?
I am Chris Murray. Like I like everybody to say that. Want to stand up right now and say it. I am Chris Murray.
Yes, say it, Philly. That's right. Go to your windows.
Listen, I want to get right into the sports, but I have the statement. A few of the brothers from Southwest was trying to do a little memorial on Cody Anderson, right?
Right.
But I couldn't attend because of the murder and mayhem that's going on out here in Southwest with these young kids getting killed on the basketball court. A lot of people around here asked me to speak because they know I used to be a prison guard, and they all in favor of what I've been asking you about having the PAL program put back into the playgrounds. They have police. The police are not going anywhere, black people. They're here to stay. So all this thinking they're not going to be there, we have 911 on speed dial on our phones. We all know it. Let's just admit it. Our favorite shows are Law and Order and Chicago PD, some of the dirtiest cops on TV, but we love them. So let's admit that. Let's join together to help stop this violence, because that's the only way it can be done. Because I want to be able to have kids go to the playground and feel safe. And I think if we had PAL centers at these rec centers, it will make them a safer place. That's my statement for today. But now, let me get back into the sports, okay? Listen.
Okay, get into the sports.
Spit into the sports. Now, with these situations down in Texas, it's all in organization, people. If they need us to play them games, and if we don't participate in them games, they could care anything about a Texas song if we don't show up. And that's how you handle that.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do, because I think that, people, I mean, and they'll respond. They may get hated, but they gotta respond to it. And the thing about it, the state of Texas, I hope that people will get out there and vote, that people will be more active. Although, like I say, like a lot of states, they're trying to stop black people from voting. But I do believe that, if black athletes are to use the power, I mean, University of Missouri, about 5 or 6 years ago, basically threatened not to play an SEC game unless the president of the university resigned, and because there was racism on that campus. And so, sometimes you have to use that power, but sometimes that power involves, hey man, not being afraid, of losing something. Like I say again, as Dr. King once said, if I do not stop to help my brother, what will happen to him? And that, you can't always think about what's going to happen to me and all my things. Sometimes you have to think about somebody else too. And which is one of the things that's bothered me about this pandemic, is just listening to things around the country, is that people are, the one thing I learned about that really got emphasized to me about the American character during this pandemic is that a lot of people are about as selfish and as self-centered as I don't know what it is. There's a word that I want to say that I cannot say here on the air, but they are just too selfish and thinking about themselves and not thinking about the welfare of others. And that bothers me more when I say when you don't wear a mask, you're not thinking about someone else that could get this disease. You're thinking about yourself. And that's where we are in this society.
And Chris, I like to follow up with this, is that one thing as black people that I've learned from working in the prison system is that black is not always right because you have a black leader or a black administration that thinks it's going to be okay. I really don't care if you're green. I don't care if you're green, as long as the job is getting done. Because I've learned through my lifetime that I done had just as many white people help me succeed as black people. And some of them, believe it or not, Chris, some of them have racist tendencies. But the problem is they were raised that way. But for some reason, when they get a connection with you, they forget that. They give you little terms like, oh, you're not one of them, or you're not like them. No, I am them. You just see me in a different light. I am the people that you hate and vilify, but because we have a personal connection, you don't see me in that light right now. See, you've been persuaded to think that way, but now that you actually know a black person, now you see what's going on. And I'm just saying, with our black politicians, you cannot police what's going on out here in the street. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. This got to come from the top down, and people got to help the community. We got to help. When we say Black Lives Matter is not a group, Black Lives Matter is in your heart. People got to understand what that really means. It's not a group. It's in your heart. Just as like when you see a cop beat up a white cop beat up a black person, you got to think the same way when you see a black person beating another black person. You got to run over there and say, stop. And people got to understand that. And that's all I want to say. And, brother, you keep doing what you're doing. Please pass that along to try to get the police about the police involved back in the power system, because our youth that's out there dying right now see no future, and that is the problem. And people got to start to understand that. They don't see being married. They don't see owning property. They don't see in my neighborhood, you can't find a black-owned store for 20 blocks. So think about that one.
I agree. No, I mean, you know, when you talk about what's going on in the streets, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I'm one of those people who believe that, the killings in our community, we should definitely pay attention to all those. You know, I had a privilege this year. Denise was covering some of the marches that were going on and actually in South Philly, in Southwest Philly, with Councilman Kenyatta Johnson. And I have to say I was really impressed with what he was doing in the community. You know, because I still think that's important. I mean, you want to feel safe. I mean, you want to feel safe in your community. You want our elderly to feel safe. But what is up with all people just shooting each other? I mean, is drug turf worth that much that you got to kill another brother? Or on a personal level, are you so sensitive that, you know, instead of, if you don't want to fight the guy with his fist, or just say, you know what, later for you, just walk away, and not lose your temper. And I would tell you, you know, I'm not gonna lie and say that there were times in my life when I was, you know, young, you know, whatever age I was, that I hadn't lost my temper and want to put my foot up somebody's rear end. But that's not, you know, fighting doesn't solve anything. It really doesn't. And I can tell you from personal experience, it really doesn't. And you can, you know, like I say again, at some point that has to stop. We got to go to break. So we'll be back, and you're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD, the Chris Murray Report. We'll be right back.
Did you know you can use LIHEAP to pay your PICO bill? Last year, PICO customers received almost $17 million in free LIHEAP support. This year, take advantage. This deal is first come, first served. Apply now. Call 800-34-HELP-4.
Philly Peace in Progress nonprofit organization was started to create a positive change and bring awareness to the growing drug and gun violence in Philadelphia. Philly Peace in Progress is looking for volunteers to make a change with organized programs, mentoring, problem solving, conflict resolution, and more. If you are interested, email Nelson at phillypeaceinprogress.com or call 267-529-7255.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Her's Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Her's.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. But before we get started with our second hour, WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark on a 3-city contest that will highlight black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. Wow. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Again, the deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-the-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a black woman-owned business that you love. So that's WURDradio.com. Again, click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or another Black woman-owned business you love. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, your mission is complete. So go out there and support Black women-owned businesses, ladies and gentlemen, during Women's History Month. Okay, now a couple things this week. We were talking about earlier. We were talking about the Sixers. We're talking about the Eagles, and we're talking about a lot of other things in the world of sports. So we welcome you to give us a call today. 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. Give us a call, talk about any issue in the world of sports. You want to talk about what the Eagles are going to do, free agency. Free agency starts this week, or starts this coming week. And we also, the Sixers, you're wondering about Joel Embiid's condition. Some of you who are wondering, if you didn't hear from us earlier, Joel Embiid will be out with 2 weeks. There's no structural damage in his knee. They're just going to rest it. It's probably a little sore. It's hyperextended knee. He didn't break it. He didn't kill himself. And don't jump off the Walt Whitman Bridge. Your season is still intact. There is a possibility that that a parade might be imminent if the Sixers could somehow figure out a way to win it all. Although the Lakers and the Utah Jazz will have something to say about that. So that's a lot to really deal with. We got BG from Germantown. BG, what's happening?
Hey, how you feeling, Chris?
Man, I'm feeling okay, man. It's a beautiful day. Hey, today's the end of daylight saving time. We got a spring forward.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm glad you said that. I forgot. Last week I called, but I had to go to the door. Somebody came. So it was about Joe Frazier. And I don't like this revisionist history that's going on with Joe Frazier. And I know Joe Frazier. I met him numerous times. I liked him. I thought he was a nice guy, but not the most intelligent guy. And I don't like the fact that I think, as time goes by, sometimes we forget. And Joe Frazier was on the wrong side of a lot of things. He supported Frank Rizzo, who brutalized the black community. He supported Ronald Reagan. He supported Richard Nixon. And he did represent, if he was alive today, he would be a Trump supporter. And his ideology going against Ali, he was always going to lose in the black community. And I think that he allowed himself to be manipulated willingly, and he did represent the establishment when he fought Ali. So now to try to portray him as, it's an unfair characterization of him is not true. Plus the fact, people say, well, Ali called him a gorilla and all, but he called Ali Clay. And Muhammad Ali's name was Muhammad Ali, and I thought it was very disrespectful. So I didn't have a problem with Ali taunting him, because I think Ali was taunting him like, okay, if you're going to be with that group, and you're going to disrespect me, I'm going to try to humiliate you in any way fashionable. And plus, fighting is psychological warfare anyway. So it's like when Bernard Hopkins took Trinidad's flag and threw it down and stopped it. It's war. So all is fair in war with me, and I didn't have a problem with anything Ali did. And I don't like this representation of Joe Frazier as, this really good guy who wasn't a traitor. He was a traitor in the way he portrayed himself and how he allowed himself to be portrayed, just like O.J. and Dak Prescott. I didn't care about no Dak Prescott, because him and Ezekiel Elliott did not stand up for Colin Kaepernick when guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady did. So who gives a rat's ass about Dak Prescott, too? I don't care if he got paid or not.
Okay. No, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion on that, and you make some good points. I mean, Ali, I didn't like I didn't like how Ali was vilified as well. Although I think that what I worried about with Joe Frazier was people vilifying his children, and that's not right either. But I don't think the personal insults did go a little too far. But at the same time, I love what Ali stood for. Right. That's why, as a kid, I supported Ali. I mean, and I don't mean no disrespect, because I know the Frazier family; they're good people. And I think that that maybe I thought that Joe was a warrior in that ring against Ali, but on the politics side of it, yeah, I supported Ali, and I supported what Ali stood for. You know, I still say, but I'm not gonna. I just don't believe, in our evolved way of thinking now, because you have to understand that, the volatility of the 60s and 70s. Yeah, folks were angry back then, and it was easy back then to say, to draw that line, and a lot of people saw Ali as a symbol of defiance against a racist government trying to fight a war against people of color in Vietnam in the name of fighting against communism, even though we support regimes that had nothing to do with democracy and were more were more right wing than anything else. And so there's the exposing the American hypocrisy. And Ali was the guy who exposed the country that, you're going around the world to fight 8,000 miles away for democracy, and black people in northern cities and in the South aren't getting the fruits of that democracy here in America. Exactly. And so the only thing that I am bored about that era is that I don't think you should. I think that Ali characterizing Frazier as as this sort of, I don't know, the whole gorilla thing and the whole, I know Ali likes to used to make light of his fighters, but maybe, given the fact that Frazier did help Ali to get his his license back, and even gave Ali some money, that's where I think people objected to that, because I think Frazier did help Ali personally, and then that's where I think a lot of people got upset about that situation.
He had a motivation for having him get his license back, because he wanted to make money for fighting him. That was his biggest payday, fighting Ali. So there was a money motivation behind him getting a license. Now, by him giving him some additional money on his own, well, that was nice of him. But he also used to call the man Cassius Clay, which was very offensive to me, because that wasn't his name. And so to me, he was playing to the establishment by doing that. That endeared him to the Donald Trump type of people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. And even, like I said again, and I think that, I think in that situation, that's where, calling the man Clay, trying to insult. Although Frazier's people would say, well, he said this, and so it was a back and forth thing. And so, no, I don't think that Frazier should have called Clay. Should have been respectful, calling the man, Muhammad. And so, that whole thing, and of course they had that fight on TV. There was a whole lot of animosity.
Oh, yeah, the hate was real. The hate was real, and even to the very end, I remember seeing a documentary they did on HBO about the Thriller in Manila, and they showed where Joe Frazier basically said, he kind of said, yeah, look at him now, look how he is, that I did that. And he basically said I was going to outlive him, but he lost again on that because Ali lived longer than him. So, he wasn't Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is like a black superhero. He's a symbol of something. Joe Frazier was just a fighter, and a great fighter. Even though, a lot of people don't talk about this with Joe Frazier, and I enjoy watching Joe Frazier fight. He's my type of fighter. I don't like the Floyd Mayweather types. They're boring to me. Joe Frazier came to fight. However, if you look at his resume, he didn't fight Sonny Liston. He didn't fight Ken Norton, Ernie Shavers, Ron Lau, Jimmy Young, Larry Holmes. You can go all day with a lot of misses there where Ali fought everybody. So that's another difference. Like people say, why is Ali held in a higher esteem? He beat George Foreman. Joe Frazier didn't. And then he fought all the guys Joe Frazier didn't fight. Like I said, Norton, Larry Holmes, Liston, Floyd Patterson. Look at the long list of fighters Joe Frazier didn't fight who was in his era. So you can't even equate the two, really, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's a good point. Good point. That's definitely a good point. Okay, well, like I said again, I got to get right now. I've got to go to a break again. But Joe, BG, as always, thank you for the call, man. You made some good points.
Talking to you. Take care.
Good talk. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go to another break. Listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD, the Chris Murray Report. Will be right back.
Clark Roofing Company has over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employee benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark on a 3-city contest that will highlight Black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite Black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. Level Up is a joint production of WURD Radio in Philadelphia, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. These 3 Black-owned stations are joining forces to host a historic, interactive, and multimedia contest spotlighting Black women-owned businesses in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a Black woman-owned business you love. The 2021 Level Up contest is sponsored by Comcast, Bank of America, PECO, Keystone First, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, WURD Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Independent Black Media.
Okay, we are back. Interesting conversation I just had with BG about Ali Frazier. And I've often wondered, a lot of people felt, there's a lot of people who supported Ali in this town, which I find quite interesting, that a lot of people in Philadelphia were Ali fans, even though, Frazier was, repping Philadelphia, and a lot of people wanted Frazier to win that fight. But, we had Joe Sanluquito on last week, and everybody, there were some people who felt that we all could identify with a Joe Frazier on one level, but I also think that from a political standpoint, we all understood back then what Ali stood for. I mean, it was to a point to where none of us a lot of people got emotional after Ali lost that fight. I mean, a lot of people, because of those of us who were anti-war. I mean, I was a kid back then. I'm just saying people who were anti-war back then and anti-racism felt that when Ali lost, that somehow their side took a long blow, a big blow or something. And in one sense, Well, one sense for that moment it did, but the people who supported, the so-called establishment folks who supported Joe Frazier, I don't know, maybe forgot about him the next, after he won the fight. And so it's interesting. I mean, I still don't think that Frazier, I think Frazier was just a fight. He wasn't a guy who was into all the political stuff. I mean, he just was not. And sometimes some of us aren't. I mean, to vilify a guy, I don't like to vilify anybody. I mean, Ali would probably tell you if he were alive that he did it to hype the fight, but that situation got too far. I think, and I see this a lot of times in social media. I think that a lot of times people take these arguments so seriously that, if you disagree with them, somehow you're not a part of the team or some, other little thing like that. And I'm just like, man, we got to learn to agree to disagree on certain things is what I'm basically trying to say, is that we're not a monolith as a people. Even within, so-called woke circles, we all have disagreement on things. So I find it interesting. But looking at the road ahead, looking at the Philly sports teams right now, I look at the Eagles. I'm at the Eagles, but I look at the Sixers. The Sixers probably have the best are in the best position to win the city's next title. I mean, the Phillies and Eagles have won. The Flyers did get to a Stanley Cup final a couple of years ago, but right now the Sixers, the way they're configured now, and I think they have maybe a window of a year or two or three. Maybe if they keep guys together, make trades or whatever, they might stay together. But the thing is, I just believe at the end of the day that they got the players close enough to do it. Are they going to pull the trigger for Kyle Lowry or somebody that can help them, in the backcourt or help them defensively? Somebody that's going to be a valued asset as they make their run to the playoffs. I mean, that's, the thing is they could run into Miami and they can get knocked off by them. I mean, they can run into anybody that's really that good. And, we'll see how all this shakes out. So, but the numbers to call in, the event, just as a reminder, 215-634-8065. 1-866-361-0900. If you want to jump in on the conversation, phones are open, and phones are open right now. Now that the Eagles, let's go and jump over to the Eagles. Now the Eagles are deciding that they're going to surround, that they're going to, I guess at this point support Jalen Hurts. Do you think that's going to work? I mean, Jordan. I mean, what do you think? I mean, Jordan, will it? Is Jalen Hurts capable of being a franchise quarterback?
Hey, I mean, he's putting in the work right now, and back when he was at Oklahoma, he was killing it. Like he showed flashes of he can be the guy. He can be the guy. Just have weapons around him, surround him with weapons.
Yeah.
Don't be that one. Don't be that GM who just gets another quarterback and starts that controversy. We all know who. So.
Yeah, I mean, they want to start. There are a couple of guys out there the Eagles might pick up. They might pick up Justin Fields or the kid out of or Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, who's pretty good. But I think at this point, in my opinion, if they're going to decide on a quarterback, okay, let Hurts. If Hurts is going to be your guy, let him be your guy.
Yep.
And bring guys around him. And, bring guys around him that are going to help him. Maybe the receiving corps gets better.
Yeah, and
with him as a quarterback.
And most importantly, the offensive line. Work on that.
Yeah.
Get some guys that can protect them.
Younger guys, bigger, stronger, faster guys that can protect him, because at the end of the day, he's gonna need that support around him. Yep. And I remember when Ben Roethlisberger came in the league. Can you imagine? Although he had Antoine Randall L, Hines Ward, and a whole bunch of other guys always around him. He had the bus. He just had everything, everything around him that was really, really good. And it's the same, and the thing is, Tom Brady had a bunch of really great players. He had Troy Brown and some other guys around him that made him a good player. That all he really had to do was just manage the offense and get guys the ball. That's all it is. And when Brady first came up, that's all he had to do. He grew into being a great quarterback.
Yeah, he was drafted. He was drafted in a really late round too. So it doesn't have to always be like the quarterback that comes out in the first round. Because hey, look at Dwayne Haskins right now. Yeah,
look at Dwayne Haskins. But see, here's the deal. Some of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL were not, big time draft picks. Came out of big schools. The guy in my hometown who we all believe that he's the greatest of all time, John Unitas. He played football for Louisville at a time when Louisville wasn't a big time football program, and I think he got picked by the Browns. He got invited to the Steelers training camp where he actually outplayed a lot of the quarterbacks, but they didn't pick him up. So he ended up on the scrap heap playing sandlot ball in Pittsburgh, and he got a call from the Colts about a few months after that. So he got a shot, and he became one of the all-time greats of all time. So you never know how things are going to shake themselves out. You put a guy in the right. Sometimes guys rise to the occasion. See, and that's a situation in sports. That for every time I hear some of the people in the establishment media talk about this guy went to this big time school. I mean, there's a lot of guys who do well at places like Bloomsburg or Cheney. I mean, it wasn't Cheney, but not Cheney necessarily. But the smaller colleges that play football in the States, and they end up doing well.
Exactly. I mean,
they end up doing well. So you never know where we have guys in these situations where you're going to just draft a guy. So I mean, sometimes guys who are number one draft choices don't work as hard as a guy who's not.
Yeah, or just went to like a school that's like really nationally known and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
so
when you think about it, I think about Weber's. I mean, even though it's not football related, it's technically basketball. But I think of Damian Lillard in Weber State. Like, I never even heard of Weber State before, and like, look at Damian Lillard now.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Guys come. I mean, if you want to look at basketball too, I mean, but you can apply it to any sport. Guys, who you never heard of at the collegiate level do well because of work. I mean, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman elevated being a role player into being a Hall of Famer. So it can happen. This is why I get upset when I hear these draft nerds, the Mel Kipers of the world. He didn't play against big time competition. That didn't mean anything. He didn't do all these little metrics they got out here. It all comes back down to, I think I'm the baddest guy on that field. Let's deal with it from that human thing. Joseph from Massachusetts. What's happening, Joseph?
Good morning, Chris. How you doing? I should say good afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, I'm sure you heard by now that the Patriots re-signed Cam Newton to a $14 million deal. I think it's only fair because you got to give the man at least 2-3 seasons before he pick up Tom Belichick's way of coaching. And he's a good man. He's a fair man. Because Tom Brady was straightly a passing quarterback, go down as the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. And Cam Newton coming in, a great athlete, but he's more of a running quarterback, and I like that, coming from Auburn. Yeah. But, you're talking about second chance and all this and that. I'm a big guy who would come for junior college. I hate to see a talent waste. Junior college is a way for a lot of guys to catch up on their athletic ability. Cam Newton went to Ranger Junior College in Texas before he went to Auburn University in Alabama. You ever heard of a school called Odessa Community College?
Say the name again.
Odessa Community College, Odessa.
is that in Texas?
Yeah. The reason I brought that up to you, well, George Floyd's on my mind. You know, he went to Yates High School. You ever heard of Yates High School? Well, it's across it's across from the University of Houston. Some big-time athletes came out of there. Dexter Manley, Johnny Bailey, who broke Walter Payton rushing yard record, 2,700-yard college record. He went to Texas A&M. But at Destin Community College, the reason why I mentioned that to you is I did track and field all my life, and some big-time runners went to that school. They went to 10 relays, and at 1 year in 1986 or 87, and they won everything. They beat these 4-year schools. They got a guy named Henry Neal, fastest high school ever, after Roy Martin, SMU. And he went there, Henry Neal. Harold Maddox, who broke the high school record in the 400-meter. I remember when I broke the national Eastern Junior College record in decathlon at Essex Community College in New Jersey. My college won't even take me to national just because of schools like Odessa Community College, Blinn Community College, Ranger Community College in Texas, who was beating these four-time big-time schools. And the reason why is because of all the oil they had. They had money to get some of these best athletes who didn't have the grades. So I just want to say a big up for junior college. And I think Joe Frazier, they didn't give Joe Frazier his due. Even wasn't for Joe Frazier, there would no Muhammad Ali. I remember reading an article when I was in Philadelphia to find out that he ended up being broke because he gave so much money to other people. Yeah, but anyway, have a good night, good conversation. Have a good day.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, and going back to a lot. By the way, it was a statue of Frazier. I think it was unveiled at Johan's new gym. And I'll that. I mean, there should have been a statue. As much as people revered Joe Frazier, I had a problem with the whole the whole Rocky series. In the sense that Cy Stallone, based it on Joe Frazier, and Joe Frazier was that guy, and yet, people think of a movie character as somehow a real character, and I just think at the end of the day that yes, you got to honor Joe Frazier. He's one of the all-time greats. Now, but like I'm saying, I think with Jalen Hurts, going back to him. I think Jalen Hurts has the ability to be a starting quarterback. He's got to work on some things. He's a young quarterback. Mm-hmm. I saw some good things in that stretch late in the season. You're not going to go through any of your first couple of starts without some bad things, without some refining. People harp on the fact that he completed a little over 50% of his passes, which is not necessarily good in the NFL. No. But the thing is, this is a guy, if anybody I think is going to work hard to be a quarterback, and now that he has a season, and now that there stands the possibility with the vaccine that he may have a full, real off season where they are, outdoors and they're having their OTAs and their rookie, and who knows if they have exhibition games. I think that, he, of all people, I think he will succeed in this town. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I really do. And, if I'm wrong, I hope I'm right on this issue. But the thing is, I think I just like his demeanor. I just like this guy this is a kid who got toughened by the fact that he had to leave Alabama. He had to memorize, and he still won a national championship, by the way. He still won a national championship, and he, had to learn all these systems, evolved as a passer. That's the thing, that somebody, it was somebody this year or last year who wrote something that, well, Jalen Hurts is a bad passer, he won't make it, and this, that, and the other, and said something, and my thing was, can we develop him? And I think he's a guy who can read defenses. I think he's smart enough to be in that office every day about 5 or 6 in the morning, breaking down film, breaking down what he needs to do.
Yeah, and he's just willing to work.
Right. he's willing to work at it. And to me, work ethic is one of the things that when I did a piece on Cam Newton about 10 years ago when he was coming out of Auburn. And one of the things, he came out, oddly enough, with a lot of people criticizing him. He's this and that. And, and the number one thing that people seem to say at every press conference for the new black quarterback, and it's always the same refrain: can he read defenses? A guy from the NFL Network called up and basically said, well, we're just wondering about his ability to read defenses. I'm saying to myself, really? This is a guy who had to learn all these systems at the collegiate level, and you're still, and I don't think his intent might have been racist or anything like that. But see, racism, we talk about systemic racism, or I think racism is so unconsciously ingrained. Even the most liberal of my white friends that you have to look at it in that way. And it's always, whenever you hear black quarterbacks come, first thing somebody's gonna ask, can he read defense? I swear to God, it's rare that you hear that from white about white quarterbacks. And they'll say, well, he'll learn how to do that in the NFL. We got Woody from Winfield. Woody, I've been meaning to catch up to you, man. Don't think I forgot about you.
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right, man.
You sound good, and I'm just saying for you, I just want to congratulate you on your new bride. Getting married at these times is not easy, especially. I'm wondering, how did you kiss the bride? You both had masks on.
No, well, we kissed each other. We've been around.
Okay, I just wanted to know. I'm thinking about it. Everybody gets married in this time. How
I got pictures. I have pictures of it, but
okay.
It's all
it's all good though. That's a good thing. That's this question that hit me. But I wanted to share with you Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, two people that I knew. And Frazier, I was at the funeral on November 14th, 2011. And Muhammad Ali came in. He wasn't in the greatest of shape, but he had to come. And he got up to the casket. He struggled on his way up, and but he had to see him. So when you ask Ali who was the greatest fighter that he ever fought, he would tell you Joe Frazier. So Joe Frazier heard the gentleman say on the phone that he was ignorant. See, ignorance is not associated with he didn't associate the fact that he was uneducated. Millions of inner city kids did not get the proper education, and yet they graduated with these diplomas as receipts for educational services not rendered. It's all over. It's 25% right here in our own city. This big city like this, 25% of people can't read. Ali also, he couldn't read. So here's two guys that were not readers. Ali said when he first got drafted, remember? Oh, you don't remember that. But when they tried to draft him the first time, they said he took the test and he didn't pass it. But when he got famous, he said, well, why y'all coming back now and saying it's okay for me to come in? But here it is, you failed me. That said I didn't be a part of that thing after you got me in there the first time. So the point that I'm making is millions of people did not get the proper education. Does not mean that they're ignorant. It means that they just don't know. They're not educated. So when I think about education, I've met some of the smartest people I've ever seen in my life that couldn't read. They figure out other ways to do things, either math or some other angle. Joe Frazier was one of those kinds of people. He an easygoing type of guy as far as the community is concerned. But when it was time to fight, you remember Yank Durham, his coach, who backed him. He loved that guy. And it's just so much when you talk about sports in Philadelphia. I got a CD where I interviewed Bonnie Sigler and Sonny Hobson. One day you get a chance to come past the barbershop, I'm going to let you listen to that. That will truly educate you about some of the deep stuff that went on in Philadelphia. Sonny Hobson actually helped Ali get that fight going, and he called people out to the park. And over 2,500 people showed up at that park on that day from his show. So you'll hear these coming from the horse's mouth, from Bonnie Sigler to him. One day you stop through, and I want you to listen, man, and then we could kind of conversate back and forth. But I know you're a married man now. You can't spend too much time. But stop past sometimes, man.
I will. No, I will. I definitely will, Woody, because you know, I want to come out there. I would love to do a show from an actual barbershop. Have people come in, get a haircut, talk sports, and all the other stuff. I would love to do that and talk with people at the station. So I'd love to come to you, and we can have these conversations because I think these conversations are important. And it would be important to have young people because we have to pass the history down. And you know, and I like it. I like what you said about Frazier too, because I think that, you know, a lot of times I think sometimes we're hyped up from all the political thing, and when I hear people, we still hear remnants of the political divisiveness that was not only within the country, within our community. You know, within our community about this fight, because, you know, here you had Frazier. He had the most authentic of Black experiences. He came up from the South, and, you know, tried to deal with racism and deal with all those other things. And so, I mean, it's a lot more. Some of my callers will try to make it as black and white as possible. And on one level, there's a lot of things. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on. I mean, that are going on at the whole thing. So, like I say again, Woody, I will
You set it up. Give me a call. Come by, and I'll let you come through and look, because you can't know where you're going till you know where you came from. So one thing about the barbershop, the old and the young get together, and that way you can travel around the whole planet, because now something you didn't know about that and somebody else didn't know about this, but when we put it all together, we got 360 degrees. Nothing's better than that.
I agree with you. Thank you very much for the call, Woody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to go to break, got to pay bills, and we got to make announcements. So, ladies and gentlemen, you listen to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Week with Stephanie Humphrey.
I'm your Tech Life expert, Stephanie Humphrey, and this is your Word Digital Tip of the Week. Apps like Indeed, Career Builder, or Glassdoor can help you find a job right on your phone. One of the best strategies you can use to get more responses from potential employers is to pay attention to the job description. The keywords in the job description should be keywords you include in your resume. If the job posting is for a specific title or has specific skills listed, make sure you have those words in your resume as well. This means you'll have to have slightly different versions of your resume handy for different job postings, but you can easily keep them in the Notes app on your smartphone and cut and paste as needed. Get more career tips right here on Word and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
The Word Digital Tip of the Week is brought to you by Comcast NBC Universal.
This literacy tip is brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania. AARP Pennsylvania wants you to know that oftentimes scammers aren't solo con acts, but are part of a large criminal enterprise scheming to fund illegal activity. Thousands of people report scams they've seen or experienced on AARP's scam tracking map at www.aarp.org/scam map. Add your story to help others spot and avoid criminal scammers. Be a fraud fighter. If you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. Call the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline at 1-877-908-3360 to report a scam or get help if you've fallen victim. This literacy tip was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
Buying something from a dealer just sounds a bit, well, put it like this. My cousin Ray Ray got arrested for buying something from a dealer. So why would you want to buy your car from a dealer? Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use My Car Concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com. Or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. We got about another 30 minutes or so. 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. Yeah, today's open lines. You can vent your spleen about a lot of things going on in the world of sports. You want to talk about Joe Frazier, Ali. You want to talk about the Eagles and, whether or not Jalen Hurts is going to be a good quarterback. And hopefully I would have talked. Some of you people who were headed to the Walt Whitman Bridge, all you Sixers fans who panicked at last night, Joel Embiid getting hurt. MRI revealed today that there was no structural damage with the knee. He is going to be okay for the next, but he's going to be out for 2 weeks. And the Sixers need to basically get everybody together for this run because, like I said again, if the Nets add Durant and they throw Durant in with Kyrie Irving and James Harden, OMG, it's going to be a tough situation for the Sixers. And then remember, in the Eastern Conference, you still have Miami, you still have a lot of good teams there. So the Sixers, you want them to be on their A game. You want them to be ready to make this run through the playoffs, and you want them to just get things going and to try to win this thing. But it's going to be hard. And then too, of course, if they should get past the Nets, if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, then you got to get past the Nets. And then, of course, you have the imposing presence of the Lakers or Utah because those teams have been pretty good too. And but the Lakers are clicking on all cylinders. LeBron. I can see LeBron coming to Philadelphia for a big. I mean, that would be off the chain. The L.A. and Philly, the Sixers and the Lakers again. And you hope that they'll figure out a way to get through this. But that's going to be interesting to see if that should happen. But I do think that the Sixers are best positioned in my humble opinion. I think they're in the best position to win another championship. So for this city, and I like parades and everything, and I like parades and when they say, and I think I've been a part of two of them, the Phillies and the Eagles. Although I was a part, they had a big parade for the Arena League Football League team. I met John. Jordan. I met John Bon Jovi at that parade. He's a little guy. He's a heck of a guitarist, though. I'm learning how to play the guitar, and I'm actually taking lessons now. And my teacher, my teacher's been tough on me, boy, because I came in. Here's the thing: when you try to teach yourself, you end up having all kinds of bad habits, man. And so I ended up, I'm working on that because I think the guitar is funky, and I'm still, like I said, it's always been my fantasy in life to be a part of a funk band, not the lead. I can just sit back, I can see the late Don Cornelius. I'm being on Soul Train the 7. I always wanted to be on Soul Train and just be one of the band, because Don Cornelius will walk up to the band members. It has a little afro. Well, tell us about your next album. That was really. He was saying that was really, really funky. And then and then he'd come up to you. And I would say, yeah, my name, yeah. Well, this is on the guitars, Chris Murray, or he would introduce, man, what's your name, man? Yeah, Chris Murray, Gemini. I'm just, me and me. They always had some guy or in the band that was like, yeah, man, my name, yeah. This is Slap. This is Slappy Jones, and he's on bass, and he's a Capricorn. Or some, that was the 70s, man, but the thing about, so that's always, been, like, I always want to be on a midnight special, and just be playing, in the band and all that, and, like I said, one of my favorite shows about that, if you ever watch on Cinemax, they had a show called Tales of the Tour Bus, and they did one season on country music, and they did another season on the funk. You should see the one on the funk. That was not only informative, but it was funny too. How how those guys, they talked about George Clinton, James Brown, Bootsy, and there's another woman named that nobody knows named Betty Davis, who is really, really good. She was like the first black woman funkster who really brought her own big. Then she disappeared off the scene. So good stories there. Now, so normally we will also be talking about pen relay. I think they canceled the pen relays again, and that's one thing that's one Philadelphia staple that we missed, and we still have to deal with this virus, man. I mean, that's the thing. You can be excited about the vaccine, and I am, and I hope everybody gets vaccinated. Please stay away from conspiracy theories. I mean, even, I don't think they're trying to kill. I think the disease, I think you don't need a conspiracy theory to know that disease is hurting black people, that it is hurting black people. But if you get the vaccine, go get it. I'm going to get it. Denise and I are going to get it. And so that's one thing. But this year, though, but there is a difference in a year. I have a picture of myself on Facebook in my office at Bowie State. I miss my office. And, but they had to cancel sports. I mean, not having March Madness, man, that was hard. I mean, it was just hard because Selection Sunday is tomorrow. Lots of teams are on the bubble. We have 2 Philadelphia representatives going. Villanova, is going again this year. Drexel is going for the first time. I think
I'm sure my dad's going crazy. He used to go to Drexel too.
Yeah, Drexel is in because I covered Drexel for a little while when I was in the Philadelphia Tribune when Bruiser Flint was there, and Bruiser got close. I even went to a selection party. They didn't get in. It was just heartbreaking. So I'm glad to see that Drexel is in. And I hope that Aaron McKee over at Temple can, recruit some good players. Hope LaSalle can get good again. And all the other teams that are there, that are in Philadelphia, amongst the Big Five, you hope that at some point they would, bring in players that would help them. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, like I say again, we're here. 215-634-8065. Anything you want to talk about today in the world of sports, you want to talk about what's going on down in Texas, you want to talk about the NBA situation, you want to talk about how much will the Sixers get through this situation with Joel Embiid being out for 2 weeks. So, all these things that are happening in the here and now, right now in this town. You want to talk about, this week we just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the fight of the century, Ali versus Frazier. Love to hear some of your thoughts about that. Where were you that night, or where were you? I know where I was. I had to go to bed. I was 9 years old, and I remember being, just nervous about that fight because it didn't have. See, in them days, Jordan, we were watching. That fight was such a big thing. They didn't put on regular TV right away. They didn't put on regular TV at all. And you had to be in the movie theater. They called it closed circuit TV. It's like you went to the movies, but you're watching a live boxing match. And they often showed it at arenas like the Spectrum. It used to be the Spectrum, and they showed it at places where you would normally see athletic events. Sometimes they maybe even showed it in the movie theater. But they would show these fights, and it would cost maybe $15-$20 a head to get in, or $10 a head. I guess in that era, that was a lot of money. So you really had to be there to get to those fights. But the Ali Frazier trilogy, man, the worst of those, not the worst, but the most compelling and most gut-wrenching of that series was the third fight in Manila. Ali came into that fight with a rubber gorilla and kept punching on it. He said, "Come on, gorilla, we in Manila." Calling Frazier a gorilla and all kinds of things and all that. And I remember the documentary. Sunny Khalid, who is the guy who was with NPR. Basically, called Ali out for that time, saying that, look, you can't be going and making those kinds of remarks about people referring to Frazier. I mean, that's the old stereotype that white folks had of us. And so what happened when they got in that ring? I put it this way: at the post fight, yeah, Ali won the fight, but Ali wasn't punching that gorilla around no more because I don't know if you ever, Jordan, if you find a fight on YouTube, or you can find it anywhere, but you ever see that fight? That was a vicious fight. That was, I mean, they were lobbing bombs that would have killed several people. I mean, that's how vicious. I mean, Ali was just. in the 14th round, I think Ali would have knocked Frazier out in the next round. Although there was rumor that Ali was looking to quit. He was looking to quit and everything, but that's how. That's both of them were just like, nah, man. But the fight really ended when Frazier's corner said, Frazier had problems seeing because he couldn't see all the right hand. I think his left eye was closed shut, and he couldn't see all the right hands that Ali was throwing him during that fight. So we got Frank from West Philadelphia on the line. Frank, how are you?
Okay, how's it going?
I'm going okay. How are you?
Good. Just one question, but based on you guys' expertise. I just want to go back to the guy from Toronto. What's his name? Kyle
Lowry? Yes.
Now, from what I've been reading in the paper, Toronto wants at least 4 players from the Sixers.
Yeah.
For him. Who would y'all give up on the Sixers for this guy, if you would?
If I would. Well, I think what Toronto might be looking for, I might give them draft choices, like second-round pick or first-round pick maybe. But I don't. One of my colleagues suggested maybe a Matisse Thybulle. I don't know if I'd make that trade, but they'll probably give up maybe one of the younger players, maybe a Shake Milton or somebody like that. But if they wanted 4 players, I don't know if I would I would mortgage my future and get rid of a lot of. They might want Korkmaz. They might want him.
Nobody wants him.
Well, yeah, you might be right, but the thing about it, he's still young. He can shoot. As long as you can shoot a little bit in the NBA, and technically he can shoot a little bit, I think he will. I think he could be out there. But you probably give up some draft choices. You probably have to give up some other things. I don't know if the Sixers want to mortgage their future on a guy who has an expiring contract, unless they're going to do it with the hope. And let's face it, Lowry's no spring chicken. He's 34 years old, so he's no spring chicken right now. So that's a heavy set. But he would be good for this team in the here and now. That's what I'm saying. But what do you give up for him? That's an interesting question.
Yeah,
so,
you don't want to mortgage your whole team for somebody that's 34.
Right, and with an expiring contract. So I don't know if you want to do that. That's a slippery stuff. Some people say if you want to win now, you would do it. Like I say again, there's no guarantee that you're gonna win now, even if you make the move. So it's really not that I'm risk averse, but you never know. Like I say again, even if you get those guys, are they going to be that good? They're going to be good enough to take them to a title. Because what I think the Sixers are thinking now, we want to win a championship, and we want it now. Like that commercial, I want it all, and I want it now. And that might be the mentality, because I think fans are tired of rebuilding. The Sixers have been since 1983 winning the championship. They've been in so many rebuilding situations that why? You want to win now. That's the mantra of sports these days. You got to win, and you got to win now. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, but that's where I think they are at this point. It's an interesting dilemma. It really is. Who do you give up for the guy? So, And so, like I said, but thank you for the call, Frank. I appreciate it. 215 634-8065, 1-866-361-0900 if you want to call in, vent your spleen about anything. Okay, so will Jalen Hurts be that guy at the quarterback position? Will he be the best, a long-term franchise quarterback? Can he be a long-term franchise quarterback? Will he get hurt? He's small enough. Will he get hurt enough? I mean, will he get hurt? You got to basically, bring all those variables together. So we will see. We will see what they do. Meanwhile, we have to go to break. You're listening to the 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That with me live this weekend or catch the show wherever you listen to podcasts. This week, I'm talking to curator and author Kimberly Drew, one of the co-founders of Art Noir, Larry Osei-Mensah, and my personal friends and founders of Black Market Vintage, Kiana Stewart and Jana Handy. More Than That is brought to you by P&G. You can learn more about P&G's commitment to acts of good for 2021 at png.com/takeonrace. Lead with love.
One of the critical parts of this work is that it really forces us to encounter the nuances of Black stories. It's not just #joy all the time.
I always say, what is your why? Understand why you do it, because then that's what's going to be your motivation in the moments where things aren't going well.
We created a book that is as much about joy as it is about grieving, that is as much about art as it is about food, and that is as much about the present as it is about the future.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, Word Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you Word listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that Word 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Enterprise Exterminators, located 4943 Wayne Avenue, specializing in lantern flies, termites, bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Call now, 215-849-7070.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. We are back again to take your calls. But first, remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating Women's History Month. WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark upon a 3-city contest that will highlight black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a Black-owned woman business that you love. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good Black business out, women-owned Black business that you love and support. Hey, honor them, support them. Support them anyway. Support them even beyond the contest, okay? So support Black-owned business, support Black radio, support all Black businesses. All right, so right now, what's going on, lots of things. We have, like I said, the Sixers are we get March Madness. Tomorrow is Selection Sunday, which is the one part of my day on Sundays, which I will be there with brackets. Let me ask you a question, Jordan. Have you ever won anything with your brackets? Have you ever won an NCAA bracket thing in your shop?
Nope, haven't.
Well, last time, I lose every year. And the last time I won, or last time I finished in second place. And I got me and my ex-wife got some of the money. We were working in the same place, and it was when Chris Webber called timeout, and Carolina won. I told everybody Carolina was going to win the championship. I don't necessarily like North Carolina, but I thought they would win. And thanks to Chris Webber, although he wouldn't like me saying that, he'd probably beat me up and do all kinds of things. But I'm just saying that it's the most inexact science. I was on Arthur Fennell's show on Comcast a few years ago talking about. I watch now for the memories of the tournament. I love the tournament. There's some years where the tournament has broken my heart when my favorite teams, either Maryland or Michigan State or Temple, would lose. Like Temple would lose in the Elite Eight, and it was just that ill. John Thompson was that. John Chaney. John Chaney was that close to getting to a Final Four. He had some really good teams. And that probably was some of the best coaching jobs of his career, just because a lot of this, he didn't get all the McDonald's All-Americans and all that. So, you miss March Madness, like the Super Bowl, is a part of the American flavor. We get ready for the Super Bowl. We have Super Bowl parties, chicken wings, and whatever. And then, March Madness, you just. Why? And the thing is, you'll see some little old lady from your office who knows nothing about college basketball, and they win it all. I just like their uniforms, and I was just like, I'll see. Let me see. I'll take the 12 seed over these guys, and I'm like, no, that's crazy. And sure enough, there's the upset. People at Georgetown are still reeling from the fact that when they played, this was like 89, it was 89. And I remember I was watching the first round, Georgetown versus Princeton. And Princeton had that slowed down, what we used to call the four corners offense. They slowed, even within the shot clock, they showed, they would slow down the game and that frustrated. And the only reason why Georgetown won, they had a 1-point lead. And the only reason why he won the game was that Alonzo Mourning, I think, blocked the final shot of the game by Princeton. And Georgetown was the number one. It was that almost became the first time a 16 upset a number one seed. And I think that affected Georgetown through the tournament. They got to the Elite Eight and Duke beat them. And a guy named Phil Henderson slammed on Alonzo Mourning to the point where the fans were yelling, in your face, because, people hate. The thing about it, people hated Georgetown. And speaking of Georgetown, they play Creighton for the Big East Final tonight. Patrick Ewing, what a story would that be if Georgetown pulls off the upset and goes off and beats Creighton? That's going to be a great story. Here Patrick Ewing going back to his alma mater and leading to Georgetown. Can he do what Big JT did, taking Georgetown to the NCAA tournament? And I'm old enough, Jordan, to remember when John Thompson almost became the first black coach to lead leading team to the Final Four 2 years before that when they were up. They played Iowa in the Elite Eight in the regional final, and they were up 18. Iowa had a player named Ronnie Lester, who was like really good, all Big Ten player, and Georgetown was up 18 and lost. And this was a day. This was a couple of days after they beat Maryland in the matter of fact when Georgetown played Iowa in that regional final at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and they also, because that weekend they also beat Maryland to get to that point, and they played like I said again, they played the regional final at the Spectrum. As a matter of fact, the Spectrum has been the site of the Final Four a couple of times. So we have Rob from North Philadelphia. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing fine. And yourself, brother?
I'm doing okay, man. I could, like I say, it's getting to lunchtime. I could use some lunch, man. But I gotta eat greens with my lunch though this time. I'm on a diet. I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, so
I'm actually on one myself since you mentioned it. I'm doing the 3-1 diet: 3 pieces of fruit and a vegetable and a salad every day.
Ah, okay. That's a good one.
And
so
all
what's
the
on
water
your
you
mind?
can drink.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, I can now all my water's all the way across the room, and I don't feel like walking to get it. But go on, what's your mind, man? What's on your mind today?
Look here, man, a couple of things. I'm going to comment on Joe Frazier real quick. I grew up in West Oak Lane, and as a paper boy, his house was on my route. So I would serve his house on Oak Isles Avenue back in the day. And also I would see him riding around on his motorcycle. He was actually he was dating my best friend's sister at one time. So you would see him from time to time on his Harley. But what I think is tragic about some of his story is his legacy is the gym. They allowed the furniture store to buy the place. Yeah. And there was nothing said about it. It was I drove by there one day and I saw this and I'm thinking, well, damn, nobody mentioned anything about a fundraiser or is the community trying to purchase it? Is the family? I didn't hear anything. And I thought that was really a disgrace to see.
Yeah, it was, because although I know I attended an event, I was writing for the Sun, that there was some type of event where where they were trying to turn into a historical marker.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were trying to make it a historical place. And so that was a bad thing to her, but I don't know where they are in the efforts with that. So yeah, you're right. Like I said, we got 1 minute left. What else did you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, and the Sixers, man. Look, the Sixers they got to pick up someone else, because this is what's going to probably happen. In the East, Brooklyn is they may pick up Drummond, and if they do, that's going to be a problem for the Sixers bench, because he's a starting center, and he's going to come in and disrupt some of what we have with that lineup they're going to have. We're going to need that extra firepower because we're missing it with Ben. Ben is that shot. Now, if he's really aggressive and he goes to the hole like Magic Johnson every time he get a chance, like he's been doing in the past couple of games, in the past couple of games before the All-Star break, then there's a shot. But down the line, going up against a powerful big three, Kyrie, Harding, and Durant, we don't match up. We don't match up well.
Okay. Well, I got to end it right there, ladies and gentlemen. We are out of time. Thank you for listening. Thank you all my callers, everybody who called in today. And thank you, Rob, from North Philadelphia. Appreciate your time today. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week on the Chris Murray Report. 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good and safe weekend. Take care.